Hello everyone and welcome to our YouTube upload of our character profile of Sunita Alahan from episode 34 of Conversation Street, the Coronation Street podcast.
Yes, we've decided to upload this week because Sunita's had a few mentions in the show recently.
She's got a shout out!
She is, and she's either looking down proudly at Asher at the moment, or up, or in disgrace. I don't know, but it's always nice for Sunita to get a bit of a mention.
What would Sunita think of all the trials and tribulations that her dear daughter has been going through?
Well, I mean, Dev was talking recently, he was talking in tonight's episode that we watched, because we just watched Wednesday's episode, about like, oh, I'm not white than white either, Asher, I've got a bit of a past. Sunita's still coming across as a bit of an angel in this, and lest we forget that she had a bit of a dalliance with Carl Monroe before her exit.
How can you help it when you're such a looker? Go spread yourself about a bit.
So we talk in this character profile a little bit about Sunita's two periods on the street, and how the first time she was quite lovely and innocent and pure, and then she came back as a bit of a minx, and how we didn't particularly like it.
Who has more fun?
But I have appreciated what we've seen of Dev's parenting since her death, because he's had to be a single father raising these two twins. He's not even shipped them up to Scotland or anything.
I know.
So he's already got one over Kambala with this. But yeah, he's been desperately trying to do the right thing as a father in the last however many years it is, 6, 7, 8 years since Sunita's been out of the picture.
It's tough. You know, he has done a bit of co-parenting with Mary.
Oh yeah, with Mary. Yeah.
I think
and even Stella get her.
I think we can definitely give the credit for a lot of the raising of the twins to Mary, but perhaps Dev should have been a bit more engaged as a parent. Don't want to cast aspersions, but
maybe. Well, he's still got a bit of time, hasn't he? They're not grown up yet.
I don't know. There's maybe a couple of years.
Maybe this is going to be a wake-up call for him.
I think so. Anyway, we're not talking about Asha. We're talking about Sunita, and here is our character profile of her. This is after she died, so this is the entire...
No, I think this was this was after she got burnt in the fire, but she wasn't quite dead yet. And I don't know whether we knew when we recorded it that she was going to die, or whether we were just pretending we didn't know she was going to die.
She's dead.
Spoiler.
Enjoy. She got killed, didn't she?
Yeah, she got killed by Carl at the end. He turned out a breathing machine.
Naughty. Goodbye, everybody. Enjoy. It's character profile time.
It is, and who else could we do this week apart from Sunita Alahan, who has been kind of important in this week's episodes. She was born...
She's been lazing about, as far as I can tell.
She has done a lot of lazing about this week. Lying on the floor. She was born in 1978 to Suresh Parekh and Meena Parekh, and she has a brother called Jayesh. Of course, she... Married. She was married to Dev in 2004 in a nice little Hindu ceremony that we talked a bit about. I think it was last week's episode. And then in 2006, she gave birth to twins, Adi and Asha. She first appeared on the 21st of March 2001, so she's been in it almost exactly 12 years.
That's quite good, isn't
maths it? On the fly there. And... yeah, she was. Not almost, because she was in it from 2001 to 2006, and she got fired, and then she was back in it again.
Fired.
Sacked. Dismissed.
Fired.
But then she... fired, yeah. She got fired this week. She was back in it again in 2009 to 2013. She's been in over 700 episodes, and she is, of course, played by the lovely Shobna Gulati, who's now a host on Loose Women.
Well, what can you say about that?
Yeah. So, I remember when Sunita came into the programme, which was probably about a year, 6 months before you started watching it, before I started to force you to watch it. There'd been some Indian families on the street in the couple of years before this. Vikram Desai had been in it. His sister Neeta, who I quite like, was in it for a little bit. And... their dad, I think it was their dad or uncle or someone, Ravi, who I actually thought was quite funny, but he wasn't in it very long. And then when Sunita was announced, there was a bit of criticism from the press, because the way that she was brought in was through an arranged marriage storyline, and a lot of people...
she was escaping it, wasn't she?
Yeah, she had a marriage arranged for her, and she was trying to get away from it, and people thought that was a bit of a stereotypical kind of storyline for an Indian girl to come in with. But well, at the time, Gulati said, it was very brave to explore an issue a lot of people consider to be untrendy, but it's prevalent and part of our culture.
Untrendy.
Untrendy.
I'm not having an untrendy arranged marriage. Only losers.
No, you knew someone who... Did they have an arranged marriage, or were they going to have an arranged marriage?
When I was at school, I had a friend, and she was... she told us all that she had an arranged marriage. Her parents had planned an arranged marriage for her. And so immediately being over-excited teenage girls, because it was an all-girls school I went to, we all started going, we'll help you escape. And she's like, no way, I'm really excited. He's really hunky. And she was really excited about it, because he was apparently quite a catch.
Oh, well.
So it's not always a bad thing.
Well, no, Sunita didn't like it, so...
it's up to everyone to decide for themselves.
Oh, yeah, this isn't the place to debate the pros and cons of arranged marriage.
It must be quite good to have it taken care of, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, God, arranging a marriage is... God, so
that is quite tricky, isn't it?
It is. It took us long enough to get around to it. So this was in 2001 when she came in, and she was hiding out with Dev, who I think was her boss at the time, although she didn't work in the Coronation Street shop then, obviously.
Obviously.
She was arranged to be married to this guy called Deepak, and her parents caught up with her, and she thought she was just sort of had pre-wedding nerves, and that she was eventually...
going to go through with it.
Yeah. But she was a strong, independent woman, and she wanted to live her own life. But Dev offered her a job in his shop and the flat above, so she was still kind of under the control of Dev in some way early on. Although didn't start seeing him straight away. The first person that she had a bit of a fling with was Dougie Ferguson. So had a thing for the older men even back then.
How older is Dev than Sunita then?
I do not know.
I just thought they were the same age.
I think Dev's probably a little bit older, and Carl must be.
How old is Dougie Ferguson then?
I do not know.
Well, why are you making comments?
They were
about
definitely.
Older
he was
men
definitely older. I remember when they first started seeing each other, and I was like, "What?"
Ages.
No, I'm very not very good at that. Yeah, but as we all know what happened to Dougie Ferguson, do we?
Yeah, I do.
What?
He fell in a pit.
Yeah, pretty close. He nearly. You were watching it a little bit. You definitely saw it because I showed you this episode.
Remember.
That was Richard Hillman's first victim.
He pushed him down a hole.
No, he wasn't in a hole. He was up.
He pushed him up a hole.
No, shut up. He was in a big newly developed building, I think it was, or a flat or something.
Right. Yeah, you get it.
Yes. Yeah. And he went over the banister.
Yeah, he did. I remember that. Pushed him over the banister when he fell down the stairwell.
I don't think he pushed him. I think he kind of slipped and tumbled over and was holding on, and Richard left him to die. So
did he do that thing like in The Lion King where he put his paws in his and went rah, and he
live the king.
Got trampled by wildebeest.
It was quite like that, yeah.
Cool.
So some people are debating whether Richard Hillman actually killed Dougie Ferguson or whether he just left him to die. But in any way, that was the first thing where we started.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, exactly. Very exciting. Well, bad for Sunita especially because.
In 2002, that's when he died.
Yes, untimely.
But it's okay because she latched onto Dev.
Yes. Well, yeah, for a little bit anyway. But then Kieran McCarthy showed up in 2003.
What a catch!
Yeah. Well, I never really grew to like Kieran. He was Keith Duffy.
Right, I didn't like him either. He's a bit cheesy for me.
He was really cheesy, and. My sister used to really, really like Boyzone, which is a band that Keith was in. So there were always like posters of him up on her wall and stuff. And yeah.
Did she like him?
I don't think so.
He's a bit of a weird looking bloke, if you ask me. I wouldn't if you said to me, what do you think of this guy? I'd say, well, he's not unattractive. But if you tell me he's hunky, then I'll start to criticise him. Because he's not, is he? He's just a normal looking bloke.
Yeah, I could never see him as anyone other than Keith Duffy, and he wasn't.
He's not brilliant at acting.
No, it's fair to say, but he managed to woo Sunita for a bit
because she didn't know.
Well, no, but he was later arrested that year because he was brought into the programme as one of Peter's Navy mates, but it turned out that he'd gone AWOL from the Navy, and then they caught up with him and they sent him back to Portsmouth.
Oh, what a fate.
Fate worse than death going to Portsmouth, as we say here in Southampton. Sorry, I think we may have listener in Portsmouth.
Sorry. They know what this is about. It's all banter, isn't it?
Banter, yeah.
It's just banter.
Southampton, Portsmouth banter.
We have a rivalry in case the rest of the world didn't know that.
No, I think this was the time when if I'm remembering rightly, Dev was going to propose to Sunita, or Sunita, they were having a meal or something, I remember, up in the flat in the up above the corner shop, and then just at this romantic moment, Kieran comes bursting in later on in the end. He's like, "Oh, I'm back, so I am."
I was avoiding the Irish accent.
Oh, I know. Well, we need to do Jim McDonald's the character profile, don't we? And then we'll
then
never
you can
avoid
bust it out, can't you?
Yeah. So then he proposed to Sunita during Peter and Shelley's wedding.
Another one that doesn't know when not to upstage people.
No, I know. Why can't you just have a proposal?
Why can't you just do it yourself and then tell everybody and have a party?
Rather than spoiling,
someone else's party.
Like Chesney. Well, anyway. She accepted because she was obviously caught up in the romance of it. But it turned out she realised that he wasn't actually that much into her and he didn't love her, and he probably was kind of jumping the gun a bit by proposing to her. I think he told someone, I can't remember, that he actually was feeling a bit unsure about marrying Sunita, and then she managed to find out. So she jilted him on their wedding day, which I was very, very pleased with, because I always knew that Sunita and Dev were made for each other. He tried to, that's right, he tried to get arrested to avoid the wedding, so he punched Dev on the day before the wedding or something, but I think he was released.
Didn't work.
Any excuse to get out of it.
That is what you call desperation.
Yes, Desperation Street. Sunita, briefly... Danny Baldwin, that was another one. He was older than Sunita, wasn't
he? You got to say, it's 2004.
2004.
Sunita briefly dates Danny Baldwin until she realises that he's already married.
That is what our notes say. Yeah, he was married to Frankie, wasn't he?
Yes, who isn't a man.
No. Dev, at that time, had started dating Maya.
Yay!
He was a lawyer. She was a lawyer. And
she was crazy.
Yeah, she was very crazy. I don't think she was so crazy right at the beginning, but she started getting crazy.
I think she had to have always been crazy, don't you think?
She was crazy in the same way that maybe Kirsty's been crazy since the beginning.
I think you have to have something wrong with you to have gone as nuts as both these ladies have.
Well, that was a bit of a tragic year for Sunita because she got an aneurysm and a brain tumour. Sucks. And
whammy.
Yeah, she collapsed on the shop floor, and then Dev was obviously had to then concerned. He looked after her and he was fussing around her a little bit too much for Maya's liking. So she sued him. She got very, very jealous of him, and then eventually her suspicions proved to be correct because he did indeed dump her for Sunita. Now, there was a good revenge from Maya. She went away for a bit, and then I remember she came back and she was marrying all these illegal immigrants under the name of Sunita Parekh.
Do you mean that she was actually marrying them, or she was arranging for them to get married?
No, she actually married them.
I don't know if you meant she was lawyering.
No. She married them, but she didn't give a real name. She gave Sunita's name.
Maybe she just really likes wedding dresses because they are lovely, and I would wear another one if I could.
I think they were all pretty cheap weddings, just so that they could stay in the country.
Yeah, no, but if I was getting paid for it, I'd spend a bit of it on a dress.
Well, during Sunita and Deb's wedding later in 2004, cops turn up and arrested Sunita because it's like, you're already married lots of times. And then when Sunita was released, Maya kidnapped her, chained her up above the corner shop, and then set her on fire.
Wow, that sounds familiar.
Thus commences Sunita's long history with nearly being burned to death in Coronation Street.
Yep.
But good old Charlie Stubbs rescued her.
He's a good guy, that Charlie Stubbs.
Yeah, what a nice chap he was. In 2005, Sunita temporarily fell out with Shelley, and I remember they were quite close mates back then. Because
as close as Gail and Sally?
Oh yeah, easily. Sunita was trying to convince Shelley to get rid of Charlie, who actually
wasn't. He was a bit of a bumhole.
He wasn't actually that nice whatsoever. He was very controlling, but Shelley...
Abusive.
That was like the original domestic abuse storyline, wasn't it? But Shelley was kind of too scared to leave him, so fell out with Sunita. Oh. And then, that was also the year that Sunita discovered that Dev was the father of 4 children. That was also when viewers discovered as well, because they suddenly decided to write him in, having all these children that he'd fathered by people who either worked in his shop or they were just these girls who he then gave shop jobs. Yeah. And that was, I think that was...
an empire of illegitimate children in corner shops.
Yeah, that might have been when Amber kind of first started sniffing around.
Well, she appeared, didn't she?
Yeah. Now, that put a dampener somewhat on the fact that at that time Sunita had just felt pregnant with...
Don't say fell pregnant.
Become pregnant with twins. And she
It's
walked
not
out
an
on him.
illness.
In 2006, early on in the year, she gave birth to the twins Adi and Asha, but she left Weatherfield to get away from Dev. He went, "Oh, Sunita!"
They divorced off screen.
Yes, but they remained in contact. So that was when they were she was axed by Tony Wood, who was the producer back then. He was a bit of an axe man, not on the same level as Brian Park, but he did get rid of Janice Battersby, which was a bit of a shame. I would love Janice to come back. She was great. It was a shame they got rid of her.
We don't need her now though, because they got Beth.
No, we need Janice Battersby so she can see Stella off. It's like, hey, I'm Leanne's mum.
I would love to have them have a fight
over
Leanne.
Awesome.
I would love it so much. That would be an excellent storyline.
Yeah. He also got rid of Jessie Jackson, who was one of the twins that wasn't actually twins that worked in the factory. There's the larger girl and the less larger girl.
That was weird.
Yeah. But Kim Crowther reintroduced Sunita in 2009.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Well, I always liked Sunita, and when she left the first time, I was quite disappointed because how they've turned her into these last few years, the loose woman, has gone against a lot of what she was before, which was sort of very nice, very homely, quite kind of calm and lovely and a good mum. And it was a shame when they brought her back and they turned her into this super bitch.
It's funny that you admire those traits in Sunita when I have none of them myself.
Well, you can't be a good mum because you're not a mum.
No, I know, but I'm not nice
and
homely, am I?
Yes.
Well, I'm not an evil seductress like Sunita became. Not that you know about, anyway.
Go on.
2009, this is when she was reintroduced because Dev had to track her down.
Yeah.
He discovered that she was engaged to rich guy Matt Davis.
Yeah, this was when Dev and Steve were having all their golfing larks together, and I think Matt Davis was somebody who was at the golfing club, and he saw him with Asha and Adi, and was like, "Oh, what are you doing with my children?" So that's how Sunita came back into it. That would be a bit confusing,
don't you think? If you're out with your kids with this random man.
Yes, that did lead to some very funny stuff though with Sunita's aunts Grishma and Upma. Because
I like them.
Yeah, they were hilarious. They were only in it for like 10, 15 episodes or so, but I hope they come back. They should come back.
Well, I'm gonna now, are they?
They might do.
Why?
I don't know. So yeah, Sunita and Dev had to convince them that they were still married.
Yeah, because they were very traditionalists, weren't they? And they didn't like to think that they had split up and they get too much hassle over it.
Yeah, so they had to pretend and Dev was sleeping on the floor and Sunita was sleeping in the bed. It was very, very funny. But anyway, they got back together in the end because Sunita realised that Dev was actually a good father to the twins when he was borrowing them, whatever the term is. So they got back together and they bought number 7 Coronation Street from Maria. Later that year, Sunita accused Claire of neglecting Adi, who was knocked unconscious while she was babysitting him. But it was Simon in the end. I think he'd fallen off a chair.
Git.
Yeah, and he was like covering it up. And he was like, "Oh no, Mum, it was me. I'm so sorry."
And everyone was like, "Oh, Simon's so cute."
Yeah, so Sunita was pretty vile to Claire. I
remember that.
I guess you might
forgive
her for it.
Well, they weren't very happy about it, were they?
Who? The Peacocks? No, they didn't. They weren't having any of it. They did not accept the apology. And then, that wasn't the worst thing that happened to the Alahan family that year, because on that fateful night on December 2006, a little tram crash happened. Oh, 2010.
A tram crashed?
Tram crashed, yeah. And it went into the corner shop. And
it caught on fire.
It did. And Sunita was trapped in the flames again. But luckily she got out eventually. I think she had to be rescued. Who rescued her, was it?
Well, it wasn't really...
It was Steve or someone. It was one of the guys.
Sexist.
Yeah, leaving Molly in there. She wasn't quite so lucky, was she?
No one cares about Molly.
No.
Yeah, so that's that.
Yeah, that is that.
She was discovered by Becky.
Yeah, that was...
Who was there looting.
Yes. Yeah, that was good. 2007... the shop was nearly ruined. Not ruined in the physical sense because that already kind of happened when the tram went into it. But it turns out that Dev wasn't insured.
I can't believe that. I think it's like pretty important, isn't it? You have to I don't know, I guess people break laws all the time, don't they?
Especially in soaps.
Naughty people.
Yeah, he wasn't insured, and the safe was looted by Becky, so they didn't have any money at all. But she later returned the money. But Steve took the blame for her. Oh, what a nice husband he was. I wouldn't do that for you. Grishma...
Yeah, because I would have spent it on shoes.
Grishma and Utma returned for a little bit, trying to search for a husband for Sunita, which led Dev to propose to her. Oh. In 2012, this was when Amber came back into it. And talking of changing personalities of people in that family,
Amber used to be really nice.
She was, she was really cool, Amber. But she came back from university. Had she quit university?
She was a little scrote when she came back. She had dropped out, I think. She couldn't handle it because nobody on Coronation Street can get a degree apart from Ken.
Can't even get A-levels or barely even GCSEs on Coronation Street.
Has Ken got a degree?
Yeah, I think so.
Who else has got a degree? Nobody. Dr. Carter, I presume.
Brian Packham must have a degree.
Yeah, that's true. No, not necessarily. I don't know how old he is. He didn't used to have a degree.
Didn't you? Well,
No.
I expect he has. He's quite educated. So Amber came back and she did not get on with Sunita at all because Sunita by this time was certainly turning into Super Bitch herself anyway. So these personalities clashed somewhat.
Amber was leeching off her dad quite a lot, really, and when Dev bought her a car for her 21st birthday, that really peed Sunita up because not only did she not really deserve it as far as Sunita was concerned, but I don't think Dev's asked Sunita first, did he? I think he just bought it.
Yeah, and I think the Alahan family finances still weren't in a brilliant state at that time anyway. So she took her revenge by going to work at the Rovers. She was like saying, I'm independent. And that's when the affair with Carl started, which was a bit of a silly storyline last year.
Bobbins.
Well, we say it was Bobbins, but if you look back at all these other older men that Sunita has had flings with, maybe it's a bit more believable now. And then she kicked Amber out, didn't she? Or
she got rid of Amber, really. Amber left. I don't think she's coming back.
No, I don't think so now. So she had this affair with Carl. It was discovered. Dev was willing to take her back because he obviously at that time still had really, really strong feelings for Sunita, despite what she'd turned into. But stupidly, she stayed with Carl. But the relationship didn't really keep its spark for very much longer, did it?
No, really not very long at all.
For most of last year, they were arguing, or she was working and he was lounging around on the coach, or fire alarms.
Would have come in handy
Would have come in very handy recently. Yeah, but it was a silly relationship. It was never going to work, and it didn't, because earlier on this year, she split up with Carl, and we've just recently seen the relationship with Dev beginning to improve. So, that was...
Rekindling their romance.
Yes, that is Sunita.
But Sunita doesn't think she's good enough for him.
No.
Well, she's not really.
No.
But then again, there's no great catch.
Yeah, so she's been in it for, what would we say, 12 years? There's been a time of highs and lows.
Well, it's been a game of two halves, if you're going to use metaphors and cliches, because first bit that she was in it, she was nice, and then she came back as a cow. Been very likeable.
What do you think about all the controversy that there is about when they bring in ethnic minority families into Coronation Street? Do you think there should be
more?
Do you think there should be more?
Well, it shouldn't be a thing. There shouldn't be a black character.
No.
There shouldn't be a Indian family. It should be.
It is only one street, and I don't know what the
I think,
what the proportion of.
Well, if you're going by Birmingham, there's quite a lot of Indian families and Asian families that live there.
Yeah, well, the Dev's supposed to be from Birmingham originally, but I don't know what it's like in Manchester. But it's nice that we get to see some people about different cultures, and like I said,
so they're definitely a Hindu family, are they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are.
Need to have a Muslim family in it, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember whether there are any Muslims in it at the moment. But like we said last week when we were talking about religion on Coronation Street, you don't want it to be too much in your face anyway.
Well, this is the problem.
But I wish they wouldn't make a big deal about it.
About bringing, when they were saying about Sunita coming in, having a
arranged marriage
storyline, it's like people didn't like it because there's only one Indian character in it. She kind of represents everybody, so people are going to take not take kindly to her having stereotypes like that and negative things being thrown on their culture and stuff.
Yeah, I guess if they were to introduce lots and lots of Asian characters, then it would start to be unrealistic, or that they were trying too hard.
Well, no, it's not realistic, depending on what, where you put your street down, where you want to go. Because there are places where there's quite a lot of Asian families because they like to live together.
Yeah.
Because I would. If
Yeah.
I lived in a foreign country, I'd want to hang around with English people probably. I know people get criticised for it, but you can understand why.
Yeah.
It's just being part of a community, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
It's not necessarily exclusive of everybody else.
No.
But no, you can't have everybody in Coronation Street being Asian to be politically correct.
No.
I don't think that would work out.
Right.
It'd be nice to have some more Asian families.
Yeah, as long as they're just not just being stereotypical ones. But they should be brought in because of the quality of the actor, not because to make a statement.
Yeah, but you see, you get a good character, you've got to have a family.
Well, I would like to campaign for Grishma and Utma to come back.
Yeah.
As proper full-time characters.
That'd be awesome because they could hang out with like Rita and that lot.
Oh man, that would be brilliant.
And then they could introduce some things about their culture.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
I found an interesting fact about, I can't remember whether it was Grishma or Utma, but one of them played Deb's aunt back at the beginning.
Didn't you?
Yeah, she was only in it for like 2 episodes, and that was not long after Dev came in, so that was before Sunita was even around, I think. But yeah, so I think if you need an Indian aunt character, that is the actress to go to. So maybe we'll see her again sometime, even if she's not in the same role.
Maybe I'll hire her to be my Indian aunt.
Right.
For all kinds of events. Weddings, christenings, parties, birthdays.
Anything else?
No.